Hey guys, long time no see. I'm back. Last night on Paramount Plus, I caught a Milli Vanilli documentary, all about the scandal behind it and what went on behind the scenes of that lip syncing duo, if you will. Now it is about two young gentlemen who met early on in their lives, and they both came from like a broken home, and so they became friends. Rob Pilatus and Fabrice Morvan, and they both, like I said, they came from broken homes. Rob was from Germany, Fabrice was from France, and they met in their early 20s, became lifelong friends. Well, not lifelong friends, but they became best friends, lived with each other. And their main goal, they were dancers, performers. Their main goal was to be famous. They had a lot of talent. They were dancers. They did a little bit of singing, but not certainly weren't professional studio singers. But they fell in line with, and all they wanted to do was be famous. And let's face it, if I were in my 20s, when I was in my 20s, I did have a goal. I wanted to be famous at one point in my 20s. And, they fell in with a gentleman named Frank Fabrian. And he had a record company, a studio. He was a producer. And he saw these two guys and he's like, I've got an idea. Presented them with a contract and they signed on the dotted line. They didn't read the fine print. Of course, in my 20s, if I wanted to be famous, I would have just signed it anyway. If I was promised, dollars to dollars, I probably would have signed. Now, let's face it, any one of us would have probably done the same thing, not realizing what the plan was. Well, the plan was to get two studio singers to sing the songs and have Fab and Rob lip sync. So they did, and they found out about it eventually, and they said, well, they presented it to Frank, and they said, hey, look, we want to sing, we want to sing on the record. And he said, no, you're not going to sing on the record, and if you do, we're kind of gonna let everybody know that you're faking it, and you'll have to pay us all the money that we paid you up front back. So they went along with it begrudgingly. And, Girl, You Know It's True was released, became a worldwide hit. And so eventually they started touring as Milli Vanilli. And everybody eventually knew about this scam. Producers, studios, people were eventually, blaming all the rain, Baby Don't Forget My Number, all those hits. They went on tour in the U.S., became super famous, made a lot of money. And, all the while, the real studio singers, the people who sang it, were watching Rob and Fab get, Grammys, get awards, get platinum albums. And they said, wait a minute, that's us singing. We should have that. We should have those on our wall. And they even went so far as to publicly tell everyone, hey, look, these guys are lip sync. That's our voices. But Frank Farian kind of blew it off and dismissed it as, these guys are trying to make money off what Rob and Fab are doing. So eventually comes the Grammys. They were nominated for a Grammy, and then, of course, at the Grammys, you perform live. So they ended up performing at the Grammys. They won the Grammy against others, like Tone Loc and some others who are very talented, who should have deserved the Grammy. So at that point, things started to spiral out of control in the story. You find out that basically that Rob and Fab kind of let success go to their heads. They started saying bad things about Paul McCartney, of all people. These, the lip sync guys were talking about Paul McCartney, And, eventually they ended up blackmailing Frank Farian, saying, hey, if you don't pay us the X amount of money, we're going to go public and say it was all a fake. And he was giving them money. And at a certain point, he's like, enough's enough. So Frank Farian went public with the fact that Rob and Fab were indeed lip syncing all of those tunes for many, many years. And the backlash just ensued. But what I found interesting is that the only people who really suffered were Rob and Fab. The studios, they didn't suffer. The producer, Frank Farian, didn't suffer. It was these two guys who took the brunt of the backlash. And, it was weird because afterwards, after the whole backlash, Frank Farian made an album with the actual guys who were the voices and called it The Real Milli Vanilli. Meanwhile, Rob and Fab kept going on TV shows saying, no, we can sing. And they're like, okay, sing now. And they did, and kind of didn't work out. However, later, after everything died down, they did put out an album where it was them singing, and they were decent. They weren't bad singers, but people just weren't buying it at that point. So the hype died down. Nobody was into Milli Vanilli. I think it made 2,000 records worldwide, which isn't a big number. So yeah, Rob kind of got, let that get into his head, and of course he started, he was on drugs and he got further into drugs, and he and Fab kind of broke apart. The friendship suffered. And so, as most breakups do with bands, the friendship did suffer, and Rob went further into drugs, and Fab kind of decided to go his own way. And he was like, look, I'm a good talent. I can actually sing. He went on a RuPaul show singing, and he's a great singer, honestly. At one point in the documentary, he does sing one of their famous, he sings Blame It on the Rain, and he's a great singer. Not bad. He's a good talent. They just kind of got caught up in the whole thing. Unfortunately, you find out that Rob did die of drugs and alcohol. It was very sad. But it was a very compelling documentary. I would highly recommend it. It's on Paramount Plus now. And I hope you guys enjoy the documentary. Let me know what you think in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe. And we'll see you soon. I'm watching one right now all about 40 years of Michael Jackson's Thriller. So I'll come back to you with that one. At any rate, I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see ya.